What's cracking, YouTube? You know what it is. It's the Mile High Hustle coming back to you with another banger. But before we get into it, make sure to hit that like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell notification so you get all future content. With that being said, let's get into it. Today we're going to talk about the GKIs and two of the upper ranking members who were government informants. So let's go. Paul Barbaran, a special agent with the U.S. Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosive, looked through the bars of a North Glen Police Department holding cell at the man he had spoken to almost every day for more than a year. He stated that date, September 12, 2012. Then he severed the ties. Demetrius Trujillo, you are no longer an ATF confidential informant, Barbaran told Trujillo, who had been arrested on a murder warrant. It's like that, Paulie? Trujillo said as Barbaran turned to walk away with another ATF agent and a North Glen detective. That conversation later materialized in court testimony brought to a close Trujillo's 19 months of work on behalf of the ATF, a time that highlights both the benefits and privileges of the law enforcement reliance on confidential informants. While police use informants to catch criminals, those informants are also prone to go off the rails, causing death and crime, just as Trujillo did. Trujillo's work was instrumental in securing indictments and convictions against fellow gang members, but then he killed Christopher Gardano, a gangster he promised federal officials he would help them catch. In Colorado, law enforcement agencies are led to their own discretion on the handling of informants and the information they provide. A Denver Post investigation found many cases in Denver and other cities in which informants' tips weren't properly vetted or protocols were not followed. Trujillo, like the informant who allegedly witnessed the fatal stabbings of 5 people at Fierro's Bar and Grill in 2012, was a federal informant. Court records and testimony about Trujillo, who went by the street name of Grungy, reveal a part of law enforcement usually kept under lock and key. The ATF paid Trujillo over $21,000 for gathering key evidence on the Galliant Knights Insane, or GKI. He was a member of that Latino gang, which has nearly 900 members spread across several states, with the infatuation of wearing purple. The ATF signed up Trujillo as an informant despite a rap sheet that included a conviction for second-degree assault and 2 convictions for evading parole supervision. Although a felon, he carried a gun throughout his time as an informant, witnesses testified in Trujillo's murder trial. His handler was Barbaran, a Lakewood police officer assigned as a special agent to the ATF who declined comment for this interview. The two met in 2010 when Trujillo was incarcerated at Denver County Jail for parole violation, a charge prosecutors later dropped. The Denver police officer told Barbaran about Trujillo and suggested he could help the officers make cases. He was a good informant, Barbaran would later testify of Trujillo's efforts before he turned killer. I had no major issues with Mr. Trujillo, Barbaran added. Just the normal average issues that someone who does what I do for a living has with informants that work with them, which is, trying to make sure they stay out of trouble. Trujillo kept working as an informant for the ATF despite his brushes with the law. North Glen police arrested him in January of 2012 after he was accused of beating his 17-year-old son and threatened to put a bullet in the head of the boy's mother. During the arrest, they found marijuana joints in the pocket of his sweatshirt. The ATF officials decided the pending criminal charges meant they would no longer let him make controlled substance buys, but they allowed him to remain an informant who provided intelligence on the gang for criminal cases. His time as an informant was filled with tension as he tried to keep the two worlds separated. Once a female undercover ATF agent came to Trujillo's house, his girlfriend became so jealous, she hid in the closet and then burst out threatening to beat the woman, testimony revealed. Trujillo later calmed his girlfriend by telling her of his work as an informant and his effort to get Gardino indicted. Trujillo and Gardino had been childhood friends. As an original member of the Galleon Knights Insane, Gardino helped initiate Trujillo by helping others administer a brutal beating to him, a gang's tradition. Trujillo reestablished contact by texting Gardino that he knew the gang's leader had put a green light on him. The court records show that Gardino was indicted in federal court in connection with a crack cocaine ring in 2005. Prosecutors in the court filing said he pleaded guilty and agreed to identify other drug dealers, including his own mother and brother. They recommended him a reduced prison sentence. Trujillo told the ATF that Gardino was selling drugs and guns while on supervised release and agreed to help build a case against him. But the gang life still had a hold of Trujillo, and on August 30th, 2012, Trujillo did a drive-by shooting of a home on Denver's west side where a rival gang member lived. Police records show he wanted revenge for the shooting of a friend, his girlfriend later told police. The next night, Trujillo called Barbaran, his ATF handler. Something was off, Barbaran later recalled in testimony at the trial. Trujillo's voice was low, and I believe he was crying. It's been nice working with you, but I've got to get out of town, Trujillo told his handler. I just can't take it anymore. A few days later, Trujillo took Gardino to a strip club on Federal Boulevard. According to the testimony, then Trujillo had his girlfriend Chelsea Smith drive them in Gardino's gold Chevy Impala to another bar. Gardino was in the passenger seat and Trujillo sat behind him. He directed Smith to take a side street along the way. Trujillo shot his 38-year-old former Fred execution style, according to the trial. Smith recalled during her testimony looking into the rearview mirror into Trujillo's dark eyes. "You can be Hex," Trujillo warned Chelsea, ordering her to drive the car to a North Bend apartment complex. They left Gardino's body in the car in the apartment parking lot. Trujillo had lied to the ATF. He was still a gangster, one who never left the crime world. He told the ATF he was helping to clean up. Court records show Gardino and Trujillo's names were on a handwritten list of more than 40 snitches the gang's top leaders had green-lighted to be killed, according to testimony. Trujillo believed he could get off this list by killing Gardino, prosecutors said in the documents forms a related case. Investigators believe Jimbo Valenzuela was the gang's highest-ranking member, ordered the hit on Gardino. According to a recent indictment on multiple gang-related charges naming Valenzuela and others. After the killing, Trujillo fled to New Mexico, where he had relatives in the Taos area. Returning to the Denver area just days later, the trial establishes. 5 days had passed before Trujillo had called Barbaran from his Arvada payphone. Trujillo told Gardino was dead. A hit had been ordered and someone had earned their stripes, he said. Barbaran was driving his car with his children when the call came in. Trujillo talked to Barbaran as he hushed his children in the back seat. Barbaran started recording the call. The ATF agent had become suspicious. He had already informed Northland police. He feared his informant was the hitman in the killing of Gardino, whose body was found the morning of September 3rd, 2012, in his car parking space in a Northland apartment complex. Trujillo said he had nowhere to go. "I'm done with all this," Trujillo said. A week after that, Trujillo was in custody. Barbaran came to the police department to officially terminate Trujillo's employment as an informant with the ATF. "That's the way it is, huh, Polly?" Trujillo said from the holding cell as the agent walked away. Convicted last year of first-degree murder, the 37-year-old now is serving life in prison without the possibility of parole. Last year, Trujillo was convicted of witness intimidation after he tried to have Smith killed before the trial. A Denver Post investigation into the use of confidential informants by Colorado law enforcement agencies found many cases in which information they provided turned out to be wrong or unsupported by evidence. Their use isn't regulated by the state, and some police departments have no policies in place. Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Another banger. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of skeletons in a lot of closets, man. Not all the gangs are one hundo, and this life isn't for the birds. So all you youngsters out there, take notes and know that this is what your life might be heading to if you continue down this road. You're either going to go to the prison or you're going to go to the cemetery. So I hope you guys are learning, man. I hope everybody, hope everyone liked the spill. And thank you. And with that being said, this is the Mile High Hustle, and I'm out.